A Utah district has now banned the Bible in elementary and middle schools due to vulgarity and violence. A parent in the school district launched the petition to remove the Bible over its sexual content and violence. So this is at Davis School District. It's north of Salt Lake City. And they've basically pulled the Bible, and students can't have any exposure to it until they get to high school. And they removed it because they received a petition from a parent because of sex and violence. They wanted it to be gotten rid of. Now, this is not the first situation like this. Utah schools previously began removing other books from libraries after a 2022 state law required schools to consider parents' input on age-appropriate books. Now, it's going to get really interesting because the next book up for evaluation is the Book of Mormon.
Oh, boy. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, can't wait to see that vote. Can't wait to see that vote in Salt Lake City. Yeah, so apparently, and what's weird is this. I think this kind of backfired on this parent because I think it was kind of meant sarcastically. This idea of the petition, because this parent was wrote this letter, and they were complaining about this stuff, and they said they had this new law being put in place. Parents had filed over 250 complaints petitioning for certain books to be removed from schools. And so they had sent in this petition saying, Utah Parents United, which I guess is the name of this group, left off one of the most sex-ridden books around, the Bible. You'll no doubt find the Bible has, quote, no serious value for minors because it's pornographic by our new definition. Well, that made them have to review it. And then since they had said they would review it, and they found violence and sex in the Bible, they said, fair enough, you're right. Even if you meant it sarcastically, we will pull the Bible.
See, oh my gosh. I guess Utah is just a little bit different because, what?
Sure are.
What Bible? I guess they don't agree to the separation of church and state. I guess I've never seen a Bible in my school when I was growing up.
Agreed.
There was never
Agreed.
a Bible.
I don't understand that aspect of it.
I don't understand why it was even there to begin with. I mean, maybe just because it's Utah, I suppose. Maybe they just didn't have that, and now, all right, well, yeah, you want to be funny, and you want to,
yeah, we'll teach you.
Yeah. Wow. I want to see what they do with the Book of Mormon. Oh my goodness, that would be wild.
Yeah.
That's a story to follow up on. But yeah, it's weird. I never knew a Bible to be like in the school library somewhere. So
I know it is weird. So the only thing that I know more than this is that so this parent was hoping to expose the bad faith process of all of this. So again, it was kind of done sarcastically, but it just kind of backfired. It's the Davis School District. The Davis School District is Utah's second biggest public school system. Has nearly 74,000 pre-K to 12th grade students, and had largely removed the Bible from circulation anyway, but they kept it in high school libraries. The parents said that their effort to boot the Bible was in protest of a 2022 Utah law that made it easier to remove pornographic or indecent content from schools. And the legislation was supported by conservative activist groups, including Utah Parents United. And so, that's exactly what they did. I mean, in this little letter, they said, I thank the Utah legislature and Utah Parents United for making this bad faith process so much easier and way more efficient, the parent said in the complaint. Now we can all ban books, and you don't even need to read them or be accurate about it. Heck, you don't even need to see the book. And then, of course, they bring up the Bible and write a bunch of stuff. And so this committee then is just like, okay, yep. We can't have any problems. We can't have anyone complaining. We can't have anyone upset with us at all. Let's go ahead and remove the Bible now. So
it's just mind numbing. Like, I think all parents really just want is like not showing your 10-year-old how to perform sexual acts on another child or another 10-year-old, right? I mean, I think that's like, there's no common sense here. Either way, there's never common sense. So we want to ban a book. Everyone wants to ban, what was what was his name? Abraham Kendi, or the book he wrote. I don't know. It was a whole big thing on it. Not white fragility. I don't know. He wrote one of the books, and everyone wanted to get that banned. And then there was, then everyone's now trying to get the other books banned. Kids are just like, wait, what? Can we just make the what is?
I'm trying to go to
here,
school.
Can I just learn? Am I able to just learn about? I don't need to be taught all this extra stuff. This just makes no sense. There's just no common sense in any of this. They want to ban one book, so now the other side wants to ban another book, and then it just
that's it.
I mean, the kids can't even read Dr. Seuss anymore. Literally can't read Dr. Seuss. There are some books that they're not allowed to read anymore. It's just, it's like, how are you supposed to know anything about the world? How are you supposed to make your own choices and your own decisions? And awful.
Yeah,
just
it is.
Awful.
It's so weird, man, and just I don't know. We've talked about it before, but so much of this stuff nowadays is not about actual offense. It's truly
no.
It's about the potential for offense. Everyone thinks that their job now is to be the police for anyone else maybe getting their feelings hurt about something. So it's like, oh well, I don't agree with the way Asian people were represented in that movie. I'm not Asian at all, but I'm really upset by it because they might be upset by it. Okay, but they've never said a word about it, but you're now making a big thing about it. It's like everyone, it's all, of course, obviously virtue signaling and everything. Everyone thinks that like they look good by doing this. And in reality, you don't. You look nuts. Like, you don't need to get offended for anyone else. And you've said this on previous episodes that, like, that's the thing. Don't get offended for anyone else. It's not worth it.
No.
But everyone now thinks that's their job, is like to look for offense anywhere that it can be found and root it out. And, it's like, come on, man, it's not communism. This isn't McCarthy era, politics or something where we got to search out for offense and root it out of society. Well, offense is fine. You can get offended. Yeah. It's okay to get your feelings hurt. It's okay to be offended by something and then not use it.
Right. That's exactly it. You can make your own choice. And then being offended for someone else means that they're not smart enough to be offended.
You see it, they don't see it.
No, you're not smart enough. Well, let me tell you, it's offensive.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
This is offensive to you.
Yeah. Like, wait, what? No.
Well, think about it. I mean, it would be like saying, you know what, from now on, all food needs to taste good. There can't be any bad tasting food out there because that's a terrible experience to have bad tasting food. Well, who determines what food tastes good and what food tastes bad? Right? It's up to the individual. And likewise, offense is up to the individual. You can't get rid of potentially offensive things any more than you can get rid of the idea of potentially bad tasting food. Because everything that someone thinks tastes bad, someone else loves.
Yep.
And then how do you determine who's right and who's wrong? So now, guess what? All of you that think that place tastes bad that other people like, now you're going to have to tell them how they're wrong and you're right and you're saving them from themselves and you're trying to protect them. It's just like, guys, man, you got to get off of this train. It's not going to work for you.
No. But this is politics. This is life. Like, you've just explained life in a nutshell right now. You've probably dumbed it down to the simplest terms. Right. Let's get rid of bad tasting food, and no one can tell you who determines or what determines bad tasting food.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, hey, man, if it's out there and it could be potentially not taste good for you, you should never have to experience that.
No.
But how do you know what good tasting food is then?
Right.
Like, there's no baseline for anything. And that's the thing. It's like, we all, you and I and many others have had experiences of all different kinds. And some of them you love and you say, man, I can't wait to do that again. That was so much fun. We had an awesome time. That was a fantastic trip. I can't wait to go back to that place or go back to that restaurant or have that drink again or whatever. And likewise, we all have those funny stories about the disastrous things or the things that didn't turn out. But they're not horrible stories that make us break down in tears because we stayed at a bad hotel or we drank too much that one night or you went to that party that you shouldn't have or you got no sleep or whatever the case may be. It's like that's part of life. This idea that we're going to somehow legislate all of this stuff out of life so that no one ever has to experience discomfort is just the weirdest, worst idea that you could possibly have.
Just, yeah. Now, the only thing I would say to that is if I could ban taking the bus in Las Vegas, I would ban that.
That really needs to be banned. No one should have to be subjected to that.
No, not at all. But you're exactly right. You can never experience anything good in life if you've never experienced anything bad in life. Now I know what I don't want in a female, a male. Now I know what I don't want in a job. If I'm just told always like this is what you need, this is what you want, and I guess that's kind of the point of where they want you to be in life. And I say they, meaning people in power, they want you to rely on them for what you need, what you want. Right. This tastes good. You need to have this. This is offensive. You shouldn't watch this. I mean, that's just what they want. You don't want free thinkers. You don't want you can't be a Republican and agree with anything that a Democrat says. Well, that's stupid. Like that you're an idiot. I don't want to associate with you. And the same as a Democrat. If you agree with anything a Republican says, well, clearly you're not a Democrat. Well, you're dumb. I'm sorry. You're an idiot. I don't have time for you. Don't represent me.
No, and we talked about it before about even, on our content, the people, particularly around some of the Bud Light stuff and Target and some of these boycott things, where these what I think we'll call liberal, more left-wing people seeing a clip of our show and then leaving comments about how we're ignorant, right-wing, Trump supporting, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. You are the exact thing that you think you're better than. You don't know anything about us. You have no idea what our show's about. You have no idea what our politics are. We're not even a particularly political show. We've said this many times, but you don't know any of that. So what you're doing is you're basing on what? Appearance? And some weird generalizations that you would make on that, saying you're white, you have beards, 100%. You have bald heads, so you're rednecks, you're this or that. Like, you don't know anything about us at all. And then you want to say that we're the problem when you're doing the exact same thing that you literally came to our content to judge people for. That's why you left the comment, was to be judgmental. You think you're superior to that, and you're actually the person who's doing it. You're the problem. And it's hilarious to me. I was talking with my wife about this over the weekend. And now, it's so funny to me that left-wing people and right-wing people have so much more in common than they think they do. It's crazy.
Oh, so much.
They're the same. They're the exact same. They just need to get over that idea that they're so different, because they're not. They are the same. And that's going to bother both sides. I know. You're going to be outraged to hear us say that, but it's completely true. Neither side acquits themselves very well because they both make, these wild, crazy things. Right-wing people say left-wing people are doing the devil's work and they're, trying to erode society and blah, blah, blah. And then the left-wing people say, right-wing people, you're all a bunch of drunk hillbillies and this and that, and you're so stupid, you're doing it wrong. And
Nazis.
Just because it's so stupid.
Yeah. No. Again, there are many people who don't want people to realize how much more they have in common. So they put this divide in there on purpose to keep this narration going. And I mean, it's you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
so much
So
more
funny.
in common than they want
And everybody
to
thinks they're
agree with.
unique and they're clever and they're different and they're
You're
superior.
the exact same person.
And they're not. They're what they are is they're weak and they're shallow and they're insecure and they're scared, and like that's really what they are on both sides. So like if you're listening to this and you're thinking, "Yup, that's exactly right. He hit the nail on the head. That's just how those right-wing Trump supporters are." Nope. That's not who we're talking about. We're talking about them, and we're also talking about you. You yourself, whoever's listening to this, if you thought I was talking about someone else just now, I was talking about you. That's exactly who I'm talking to. And because even that mentality to think, well, yeah, he's talking about them. Where would you get that from? I didn't say anything to give you that indication, right? So that's just how people are, man. And it's such a weird society and a weird time that we live in. And it doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems to be getting worse.
It is. Yeah, and I guess it's just something that's just been slowly integrated into the, as Bud Light likes to say, the fabric of America, the fabric of our culture. It just slowly has devolved to this because it was never really like that. Like I would watch TV and I wouldn't know that CBS was lean Democrat, or I wouldn't watch Fox News or Fox, and think like, oh, they're right. Like it just slowly has devolved into this. And I mean, look, there's money in being on one side or the other. I mean, there's not a whole lot of money for people that are right down the middle like us. So maybe we got to pick a side. I don't know. Maybe we got to put a poll up. Which side do you want us to go to? Because, we
everything has to be
want
to
make money. So, but I mean, really, there's not like who who is that person that's in the middle that it talk show wise or political wise, commentator wise, there's not like there can't be anyone in the middle. Maybe that's us. Maybe we're coming up with a whole new genre of we're the bridge gappers. But I mean, there's not, because there's just not any, like, nobody wants to hear, like, everybody wants to hear something that favors their side. And they can't wait to just hear it and just jump into it without context. I see these videos online and there's zero context behind them. You just see certain random people beating up certain random people. And it's like, okay, well, what led to that? Like, what, is there nothing else? This is all we're seeing. And it's like, here it is. See, I told you. No, what? Where's the rest of this?
No, you're right, man. Everything now is about extremes. Has to be extreme one way or another. And honestly, it all started with social media. I mean, we've talked about it before, so I don't want to, retread everything. But the moment that you started letting people think that their opinions mattered, it became a problem. Because your opinion doesn't matter. And it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, no, it should matter when it can be put into action. Like, for instance, in election, you have an opinion on who you want to vote for. Okay. The next election, vote for the person you want to vote for, right? That's when that matters. That's when your opinion can be put into action. If a business, Target, Anheuser-Busch, any of these, Nike, whoever else, is doing things that you don't agree with, and you choose to boycott, that's because your opinion is that they shouldn't do that. You don't support that. Great. You've taken action as you should, and you've chosen to not consume products from that brand. And that makes total sense. It also doesn't mean that everyone else is the devil who doesn't feel the way you feel, though.
Perfectly fine.
Like, it has to stop at a certain point.
Exactly. That's the thing. Exactly. If I drink a Bud Light, that does not mean that I am the worst person in America. But that's you're right, at least for now, until someone decides they're going to take that away. But that's your absolute right to do what you do. But it can work on both sides. You don't want to bake a birthday cake for, a gay couple, or a wedding cake for a gay couple. Well, I'm not going to shop at your business. Like, and that's your right. Like, it's 100% your right to do that. I will probably go buy, if I need a cake and they're really good, I'm probably going to go buy the cake. I don't care, right? I mean, there's just a lot of things we just shouldn't or don't need to care about. But again,
have at
if
it.
You want to boycott it, 100%, man. That's America, man. That's America. Whether you love America or hate America, that's America. You get to have that right to boycott it. The same as people have the right to support that business. Again, that doesn't make them bigots and phobes of this or that. They support the business. They don't agree with what you're saying, and that's okay. And that goes both ways. You don't want people don't want Target to sell clothes to kids that probably too young to understand even what they're wearing. Yeah. That's your right. You can do that. But again, if people go in there and they want to buy that stuff, then
the market's going to sort it out, right? Like if more people have a problem with it than are in favor of it, then it will stop. And look, 100%. I mean, we talked a little bit about Target last week, but the most recent thing here, and I'm sure there may be even more recent things, but here as of a few days ago, Target stock has now lost almost $14 billion in the last couple of weeks. That's the lowest level the stock has been at since 2020. And it's all over boycotts. And so in 2 weeks' time, they lost nearly $14 billion at Target. Now.
Down another 2%.
And so this
today.
Is the thing, right? I mean, so that tells you
that's crazy.
That the majority of people right now are opposed to the decisions the Target is making. If they weren't, then you wouldn't see a $14 billion drop in business in 2 weeks. But the majority of people are opposed to it. If the majority of people were in favor of it, everything would stay the same, or their stock would increase, their sales would increase. But the reality is they're taking a beating because people are opposed to it. It's the same thing that happened with Anheuser-Busch. They're taking a beating because people are opposed to it. The way to gauge your demographic, your core customer, is not when you've already done it and then you wipe out billions of dollars and you have to lay people off. That is not the time to take the temperature on whether or not this new marketing idea is going to fly or not. And unfortunately, these businesses are doing it because they feel empowered. Now, maybe they feel empowered because of the story we just talked about as it pertains to BlackRock and, the ESG scores, Vanguard, everybody else.
BlackRock.
But whether it's because of BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, etc., whether it's because of them or not, Target, Anheuser-Busch, and these other companies have been emboldened to take these marketing risks. And likewise, you could say maybe it hasn't worked out for them. They're taking a bath right now on the stock. But the flip side is, even people who are opposed to the things that they have done still have potential to profit on these situations. You could short those companies and make a killing. You could buy into the stock really low, and then when they eventually, Target's not going to go out of business over this, right? They're going to bounce back. Some other outrage will happen in another month or two, and people forget all about this, and they'll probably handle it better than Anheuser-Busch has anyway, because they will have learned from the corporate stupidity at Anheuser-Busch what to do maybe a little bit better to get it behind them faster. But the fact is, when you end up in this situation, even if you're opposed to it, you can also still profit from it. Are you wrong for profiting from it? Are you wrong for saying, man, I hate what Target's doing. I totally disagree with Anheuser-Busch. And you know what? I'm going to buy their stock. Is that wrong? Is it wrong to profit in that situation, right? I mean, there's a lot of gray area in this world, and that's every shade of gray in there. Because you could say you don't like it, but you'd also invest in the company.
Oh, definitely.
Now, you'd invest in the company hoping, that it's going to fail? No, you're going to hope that it's going to succeed after you've bought that stock. You're hoping you bought it low. You don't buy it and then hope it continues to go down. Yeah. You think, I hope now things turn around and get better for them.
Right.
So really, by shorting them, you're actually rooting for them.
Yeah.
Don't you have that right? Of course you do.
No, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. This is what I don't understand, though. I'm looking at an article here about what they sold, right? And this is what's got people so upset. So they have, of course, their LBGTQ pride for years. The season offered merchandise that included female-style swimsuits that have the option to tuck male genitalia. It's just, how uncomfortable that's got to be. Other products were labeled as thoughtfully fit on multiple body types and gender expressions. Here, they don't go into detail, but I need to ask you what this is. Target also sold a gender fluid mug.
It's just a beige mug. Is that
what is that?
Does it have half a handle?
I don't
Doesn't
know.
have a full handle or something?
I don't know. What is a gender fluid?
You can drink out of both sides. Just a tube.
One side has a straw, the other doesn't.
You just have to delicately balance liquid inside of it. It's open on both sides.
Didn't sell well.
Wow.
Apparently. Gender fluid mug. Yeah. Yeah. And this is, it's just, it's just wild to me. But they're selling adult clothing with slogans such as super queer. I don't understand why you would ever need to wear a shirt that declares that. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I should get one that says super straight.
Wrong,
and just here's the thing: if I walked around wearing a shirt that says super straight, everyone would think I was gay.
But you couldn't.
Like, you would just assume, like, what's that guy compensating for? He's clearly
like, oh man, he is.
Also, by the way, a gender fluid mug is apparently just a mug. I looked it up. Weirdly enough, it is just a regular mug. It literally just says gender fluid on the mug. That's it. Yeah.
Huh. So is it okay? So it's like the mug that has like the levels of your coffee. Like, don't talk to me.
Can you see my screen right now? I am sharing this.
Oh, it's getting ready to pop up
just
here.
Says gender fluid.
Nope, it literally just says gender fluid on it. Okay.
Yeah, and they have a bunch of those. Whole bunch of different gender fluid mugs.
$12. Oh, here's one that's $28.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, great business to get into right now is the gender fluid mug business. These things seem to sell for quite a bit of money. I mean, it's $15-$20 to get a gender fluid mug.
I mean, yeah.
Seriously.
I'll start an Etsy page here and get myself one of those Cricut things and start making mugs.
Crazy.